Hi everyone, it's Coach Fred, and today I'm going to be going over completing the square to put an equation in vertex form. And this is another way for you just to move around equivalent quadratic equations so that you could graph them or you can see different parts of them. So again, we're going to be putting something in vertex form by completing the square. Slightly different than solving, so pay close attention, okay? All right, so here we have a function, a quadratic function, because the highest exponent is a 2. And so if I want to put this into vertex form by completing the square, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the constant to the other side. Now, some teachers leave it. I don't. I just like it out of the way, okay? All right, so then I have x squared minus 8x. As long as the coefficient of 1 is x squared has a coefficient of 1, then you're ready to complete the square. Otherwise, you have to get it complete the square ready. All right, so how do we complete the square? We're going to create a perfect square trinomial. So we're going to take half of 8, or negative 8, which is negative 4, and square it, which is 16. Remember, whatever we do to this one side of the equation, we actually have to balance out on the other, so we have to add 16 to the other side. All right, so that's going to give me y plus 5. Okay, y plus 5. All right, then we have a perfect square trinomial. So we're going to write it as the square of a binomial in factored form, right? The binomial square. So that would give me x minus 4 squared. All right, one additional step needed. Just have to subtract the 5 back over, giving me y equals x minus 4 squared minus 5. And now I can see my vertex is 4, negative 5. All right, so that's a basic equation, a basic function, putting it in vertex form. Let's look at a harder one when there's an a value. So when there is an a value, I still like to get the 1 to the other side. But I'm not ready to complete the square. Why? Well, because a has a coefficient that's bigger than 1. So I have to get it to complete the square ready. So I'm going to factor out a 2, leaving me with x squared minus 2x. Okay, and I still have y minus 1 on the other side. Now I have to complete the square. So I take half of 2, which is negative 1, and I square it, which is 1. But what I have to recognize is that what I actually added to this equation was not just 1, it's 2 times 1. So I have to add 2 times 1 to the other side, so a positive 2 to the other side. All right, so that's going to give me y plus 1 equals, now I have a 2. Now I'm going to write the perfect square trinomial as the square of a binomial, so x minus 1 squared. And then I'm going to subtract 1 to the other side. And here we have y equals 2, x minus 1 squared minus 1. So my vertex is 1, negative 1. Remember, change, keep. Okay, hk. So h and k. All right, now we're going to look at a challenging example. A challenging example is when it doesn't work out so pretty with the numbers. Okay, so first we're going to subtract the constant to the other side, so y minus 1 equals. All right, then we got to get it complete the square ready, so we have to factor out the 3. All right, when we factor out a 3 from a 2, it's actually going to become 2/3. When we factor out a 3, it's actually going to become 2/3 x. Why? Well, because 3 times 2/3 is going to give me 2. So if I were to multiply the 3 back in, it would give me the 2. So x squared minus 2/3 x. All right, now I have to take half of 2/3. So half of 2/3 is the same thing as multiplying by half. And 2/3 times 1/2, the 2 is actually simplified to 1. So that actually gives me 1/3. Now I have to square that, which is going to give me 1/9. Okay. All right, but remember, I have to add to the other side. I have to add 3 times 1/9, which is 1/3. Okay. All right, so now I've got to do -1 plus 1/3. So we know that 1 would be 3/3, so that would be y minus 2/3. So 3/3, -3/3 plus 1/3 would give me -2/3. Now I write my perfect square trinomial, even though it's got fractions and looks terrible, as the square of a binomial. So it would be x. Remember, it's always going to be the square root of x is the first term, the sine of the middle term, and the square root of the last term, which would be 1/3. And now I'm going to add the 2/3 to the other side. And that gives me y equals 3x minus 1/3 squared plus 2/3. And so my vertex is 1/3, 2/3. All right, so that's how you complete the square to put a standard form quadratic into vertex form. Hopefully that helps. Have a great day.